yeah, I want to be able to record a lot of music, travel and play music, and do it in a really genuine way. Hopefully without Instagram more so as I move forward.
What do you mean by that?
There is like an Instagram music culture, I guess. It's like content creation where it's just these really like kind of ridiculous things put together. You've seen it, like all just that kind of stuff.
Almost like the people that do like TikToks almost for like their music and then just like post it. It's like a little community.
I'm not sure. Yeah, it is a community. It's definitely a community. Like people that they'll like make really exquisite videos, like lots of parts, like recording a bunch of different tracks and like arranging this big 1 minute video, but then it's never really anything more than just a 1 minute video.
Or even less, sometimes like 15 seconds, 20 seconds.
Yeah. And I like have a hard time believing that there's a lot of emotion in that.
It's just content creation.
Exactly. And I don't want to be a part of that, but it's a really good tool to like gain a following. So I guess trying to balance like using that to reach people and like not having it become who I am as an artist, I guess. Because there's a lot of people that is who they are.
Right. So you want to find that balance. Yeah.
I think that it could be devoid of emotion, kind of like you were saying, but I also think that it could be a tool for people to, like, you know, say they're writing a 3-minute song and they're having a hard time coming up with like a section, and then they like really focus in on that section for like 30 seconds, 45 seconds, and like that's kind of what comes of it. You know what I mean? I think that because, I mean, I haven't done it a lot, but I've done it a couple of times where like I'll do 5 tracks for like a 20-second video, but it helps me kind of figure out like, you know, where I wanted to take that idea. And putting it online, I mean, I'm sure there are people that do it like literally every day and they just always put it online, but sometimes put it online, it's almost like a internet journal, you know?
Yeah.
Like, you know, if you have like all these different ideas and you kind of put them on like every other day or something like that, now you can go back and you can be like, oh yeah, this one. I mean, you can keep it on your phone, but if you put it on Instagram, it's like all in one place, you know, and it's like, this was this date at this time. So you kind of know everything.
Yeah. And you get feedback from people, which I think is a big thing for a lot of people.
So I think it could kind of go both ways. But I also think that as people, you can kind of tell when somebody's just doing it for clout. Yeah. Yeah. Same with photography.
Oh,
you can
so
tell
easy.
when people are doing it for
spot
clout.
that.
Yeah, I guess
Does that I mean, I assume it bothers you when people do it just for the clout.
a little bit, yeah.
Because you're so passionate about it, and it's clear that you're passionate about it.
Thanks, Connor.
You're welcome.
This is my cousin,
yeah,
Connor.
we're cousins. It's so weird.
You should tell that story.
Can't go there yet. Too soon.
We've been bugging Alberto for like the past 5 days.
It was just random.
Family
I got
shit.
that text from both of you.
Like within like minutes.
Yeah, it's like, we're cousins. I'm like, oh.
I texted him. I was like, hey, you know Jules? And he's like, obviously.
You're like, me too, apparently.
I was like, yeah. I was like, that's family. Like, that's cousin.
That's crazy.
So funny.
But like not like immediate. You guys are like second, third or something.
Yeah. It's still wild.
It's still wild.
Still so crazy.
Hate to see
Yeah. Anyway, how'd we get there?
Anyways,
Instagram.
where do you like to perform? Because I know you've been all over New York, now Denver, places around the Northeast.
Where?
Yes.
Where would or where do? Like
Both?
What was your favorite venue?
Favorite venue. You know, that's well, for like venue wise and for like meeting new people, probably Rockwood Music Hall. But I also just played at this place in Denver called the Mercury Cafe in the Jungle Room. And it was really cool. And we played right before an open mic. So there were so many people there. And we met like just a bunch of young people that are studying music and like people I've never seen before because I'm from New York. So that was really cool.
That's smart, like, though, right before an open mic because you get a bunch of kind of like more amateurish people that are showing up. I mean, it's true. I mean, you don't have anybody that's booking a bunch of shows.
Figure it out. Yeah. But, yeah, it was cool. We weren't expecting there to be people there, but the room was full. So it was really cool. Very cool. So, yeah, that was probably my favorite venue other than like in New York. But
What was the first one you said?
Rockwood Music Hall.
Where's that?
That's in New York City.
Hmm.
It's on the Lower East Side, I believe. Is that correct? I think that's right.
Remember.
I think it's the Lower East Side, but it's cool. They have like stage 1, 2, and 3. And I did a show with Pickup Music, which is just like a thing on Instagram. And
that was that show.
yeah.
Gotcha.
And stage 2 is like slightly bigger, and it was amazing. Like the whole room was packed and just like really good energy there. So that was cool.
And you don't just play solo, you play with a band.
Mm-hmm.
What are the pros and cons of having a band?
Well,
That was like an interesting side. I was like, like
yeah. Well, it's hard because I initially was playing with like all my best friends, and then like it gets hard to do that because you are afraid to hurt people's feelings if you're playing with your friends. So it's a weird mix between like a business relationship and a personal relationship. So I'm like trying to get away from that. But in general, like perks of having a band, everything just like hits way harder. Like songs, as long as you...
It's different.
Yeah, exactly. Like as long as the parts are there and like people know their shit. Am I allowed to say shit on this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Nah,
I think you dropped the F word like 4
No
times already. So
cussing.
yeah.
Like, yeah, it sounds amazing. But also you're putting your music into other people's hands, and sometimes it's hard to get exactly what you want, especially when you don't know how to specifically voice it. That was something I had trouble with, was like learning how to tell people exactly what I want for my music. And then like you have to make sure that they get paid, or at least like feel okay about not getting paid if it's not a paid gig. You have to like try to compensate them in some way. Playing solo, you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
So
I know what you're talking about with the friends thing, though, because I played with my friends for a while. And sometimes, like, creative pride can kind of get in the way. Because it's like, oh, I wrote this part. And the other person's like, I don't really think it fits.
yeah.
And it's like, why not? And
Yeah.
it's like,
And then it becomes personal.
because, yeah. And it's not even like that it's, like, bad or good. It's just that, like, this person grew up listening to all these artists, and you grew up listening to all these artists. So, like... There's like this disconnect.
Yeah. Making sure everyone has the same like idea
Yeah.
in mind
Yeah,
for a sound.
just the same. Yeah, everybody on the same wavelength, which is
Yeah.
kind of hard. And then one of my bandmates, shout out Chris Meyer, he is playing bass with this band Annie in the Water, and he said that they're like the best bandmates ever because everything is like a business. Like you show up, we play. Don't bring drama to the gigs. Don't get too drunk or whatever, because if you're playing in a band with your friends, that sometimes is a factor, especially when you're playing like smaller shows at like house
for
parties and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I don't
Getting
know.
too drunk to play your part.
Yeah. Or like playing it, but like not playing it all that well, or like
like
if you're
playing it out of time.
singing, yeah, and then everybody kind of has to like match your time. Yeah, it's not good.
But yeah, I feel that for sure.
Or if you're on some sort of stimulant, playing your part too fast.
Nice.
Sort of stimulant.
Yeah. Lots of coffee. Yeah, but yeah, I really appreciate you saying that, because it's something that a lot of musicians, like when you first start, you usually start with your friends, right? You're always like, hey, let's make a band, let's play.
Yeah.
But you got to really kind of come at it from like a business perspective.
Yeah, that was something I had to learn, because it was the first time I ever played in a band, I guess. And I wrote all the songs, and I just brought them to them, and they arranged them. I didn't know how to arrange stuff, so it was an interesting, unique process. But yeah.
That makes sense. So what do you mean by you didn't know how to arrange them? Like you had just like all the different segments kind of like, and the bassist would be like, I think this would be better here, so
it was
on and so forth.
more like I had the song written, and I would play them just by myself on guitar and vocals, so just solo, and then trying to find like where keys would fit in, and like what the drum beat was going to be, and like what Joe was going to play on guitar when I'm already playing guitar, like filling things. And then writing a bass line. Like, I don't know how to do that, you know? Well, now I could be better at it. But,
Yeah.
like, at first I just had no idea what the songs were supposed to sound like.
Yeah.
So that I had the songs and the parts were all there, and they were set songs, but just, like, putting other instruments on them.
And the other thing is using space, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because when you're a solo artist, you almost have to always be filling space.
Right.
But when you're playing with a full band, you're like, oh, I don't have to play for these 4 bars because
everyone
it would
has to,
sound
like,
better.
Dial it back.
Yeah.
Yeah. And think about the song. Oh my God, that's such a huge thing that, like, a lot of people that study jazz and, like, get out of jazz school and they're like, I'm going to play the sharp 11. I'm going to play all these freaking notes that, like, don't sound good. But so, like, I guess learning to play for the song and not just because you can play those things.
Yeah.
Like, not to showcase yourself,
Oh,
I
yeah.
guess.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's like jazz artists specifically, though. Because they just want to be like, and then you're like, okay, like,
Yeah, but also,
how's
like,
anybody going to dance to this?
other people. True.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh yeah, other people too, for sure. But jazz, like, there's just so much music theory that they're like ODing on it almost.
Yeah. Yeah. Sick.
Yeah, you're into it. You're like, "Fuck yeah."
Kinda. I think it almost, like, takes away your ability to write